Thank you, Ceann Corley. I welcome this brief opportunity to have this issue debated and discussed in the House prior to strike action taking place, if only to allow those to bring forward solutions which can be explored and which could bring about a successful conclusion. To deal with, and I hear the government and the Taoiseach amongst them, obviously, talking about the Public Service Stability Agreement being sacrosanct. It's the only show in town and there'd be no side deals, and the potential of a knock-on effect in other sectors should there be a successful conclusion in relation to a pay claim in relation to these issues. But if you investigate and analyse that agreement and seek to preserve the integrity of it and work within it in order to bring about a resolution, it goes beyond the 7.4% or whatever it is in relation to a 3-year deal. It goes beyond restorative pay in relation to FEMPI. It goes beyond restorative pay and parity for new entrants. There are two avenues within that agreement that was open to the unions and representing nurses. It was clause 3, and the Minister was put on ample notice of this some time ago in relation to their interpretation of that. Now, other unions mightn't agree with that interpretation, be that as it may. The government have rejected their contention in relation to their interpretation of that too. And I think that is part of the reason why we believe it is necessary to have a new commission, a nursing commission, specifically to look at these details, specifically to adjudicate, for example, on that issue alone. Because the government can't have it two ways. They can't take credit for putting an agreement in place. They can't take credit for putting a pathway in place to deal with reservations that might be contained within it. And then when those reservations are enacted, or sought to be enacted, or sought to be addressed, they play dumb. You also had the Pay Commission itself, obviously, which again was a mechanism by which government could put at arm's length and allow independent assessment of career advancement or issues within the health service that was restraining the recruitment and retention of staff. And they made various conclusions and recommendations which Stephen Donnelly outlined. And government ministers have been quick to say over the last week that they enacted and agreed with all the recommendations that was contained within it, as restrictive as they were. But they failed to acknowledge or inform the public in any of those briefings that it's not the Pay Commission's duty to take the place of direct negotiations in relation to issues that need to be resolved because of their findings. They also failed to acknowledge or failed to inform the public again that the forward to that report, as issued by the chairman, outlined in some detail the lack of available analytics within the HSE to allow them to make a substantive recommendation. And that leaves the entirety of it somewhat flawed and lacks some credibility. And it's because of that, again, that a specific commission should be charged with that responsibility. But by the government and its members saying that they had set that in train and they agreed with its recommendations and provided the costs associated with it, is an acknowledgement that they would have worked with its recommendations. But if its recommendations are flawed, well then they have to stand up and be accounted for that and allow a process to evolve. So as I said, I think I accept I'm over time, I accept it's very little time to make one's point, but I think it is well made and well intended on the part of ourselves that we think we have credibility in what we're saying. We will protect the integrity of the agreement, but still offer the opportunity for a solution that the government must play its part in ensuring takes place.